Refrigerant Handling and Safety, Lesson 12. A comprehensive guide. Hello folks, welcome to this lesson on refrigerant handling and safety. In the refrigeration and HVAC industry, it is essential to understand how to handle and store refrigerants safely. This knowledge not only ensures personal safety but also environmental protection. In this lecture, we will cover refrigerant safety procedures, proper handling techniques, and best practices for storing refrigerants. Section 1. Understanding refrigerants. Refrigerants are substances used in a cooling mechanism, such as an air conditioner or refrigerator, as the heat carrier that changes from gas to liquid and back again in the refrigeration cycle. They are crucial in various industries, including automotive, HVAC, and more. Types of refrigerants: chlorofluorocarbons CFCs, once commonly used but phased out due to their ozone-depleting properties. Hydrochlorofluorobonds HCFCs, less harmful than CFCs but still being phased out for more eco-friendly options. Hydrofluorocarbons HFCs do not deplete the ozone layer but contribute to global warming. Natural refrigerants, such as ammonia and carbon dioxide, known for their lower environmental impact. Refrigerant safety procedures. Handling refrigerants requires strict adherence to safety procedures to prevent accidents and minimize environmental impact. Personal protective equipment (PPE). Always wear appropriate PPE when handling refrigerants. This includes safety goggles to protect your eyes from splashes and vapors, gloves resistant to chemicals to protect your hands, a full face shield if splashing is likely, protective clothing to avoid skin contact, respiratory protection if working in poorly ventilated areas. Safe handling techniques. When handling refrigerants, follow these guidelines. Training. Ensure all personnel handling refrigerants are trained and certified. Leak detection. Regularly check for leaks using appropriate detection methods and equipment. Ventilation. Work in well-ventilated areas to prevent the buildup of harmful gases. Proper tools. Use correct tools and equipment designed for refrigerant handling. No smoking. Prohibit smoking and open flames near refrigerant storage and handling areas. Storing refrigerants safely. Proper storage of refrigerants is crucial to ensure safety and compliance with regulations. Refrigerant storage guidelines. Temperature control. Store refrigerants in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Secure containers. Ensure all containers are tightly sealed and secure to prevent leaks. Labeling. Clearly label all refrigerant containers with their contents and hazard information. Inventory management. Maintain an inventory of refrigerants, monitoring stock levels and expiration dates. Regulatory compliance. Follow local, state, and federal regulations regarding refrigerant storage and handling. Emergency procedures. In case of a refrigerant leak or spill, follow these emergency procedures. Evacuation. Evacuate the area immediately if there's a large leak. Containment. Contain the leak if it's safe to do so using spill kits and absorbents. Notification. Inform supervisors and emergency services as soon as possible. First aid. Provide first aid to anyone exposed to refrigerants and seek medical attention if necessary. Environmental considerations. Refrigerants pose potential risks to the environment primarily through their contribution to ozone depletion and global warming. Minimizing environmental impact, recovery and recycling. Properly recover and recycle refrigerants during maintenance and disposal. Alternative solutions. Consider using natural refrigerants with lower global warming potential. Regular maintenance. Conduct routine maintenance on equipment to prevent leaks and inefficiencies. Here's a summary of refrigerant handling and safety. Precautions and safety measures. 1. Personal protective equipment (PPE). Wear gloves, safety glasses, face masks, and protective clothing when handling refrigerants. 2. Ventilation. Ensure good ventilation in the work area to prevent inhalation of refrigerant vapors. 3. Refrigerant storage. Store refrigerants in well-ventilated areas, away from heat sources and ignition sources. 4. Labeling and signage. Label refrigerant containers and storage areas with hazard warnings and safety instructions. Safe handling practices. 1. Refrigerant recovery. Recover refrigerants from systems before servicing or repairing. 2. Leak detection. Use leak detection equipment to identify refrigerant leaks. 3. Refrigerant charging. Charge refrigerants slowly and carefully to avoid overpressurization. 4. System evacuation. Evacuate systems to remove air, moisture, and contaminants before recharging. Environmental considerations. 1. Refrigerant disposal. Dispose of refrigerants and containers in accordance with local regulations and guidelines. 2. Refrigerant recycling. Recycle refrigerants whenever possible to minimize environmental impact. Emergency procedures. 1. Refrigerant leaks. Evacuate the area and ventilate if a refrigerant leak occurs. 2. Refrigerant spills. Contain and clean up refrigerant spills immediately. 3. Medical emergencies. Seek medical attention if exposed to refrigerants or experiencing symptoms. Training and certification. 1. Refrigerant handling training. Receive training on refrigerant handling and safety procedures. 2. Certification. Obtain certification in refrigerant handling and safety, such as EPA Section 608 Technician Certification. Here's a summary of refrigerant safety procedures. Safety precautions. 1. Personal protective equipment (PPE). Wear gloves, safety glasses, face masks, and protective clothing. 2. Ventilation. Ensure good ventilation in the work area. 3. Refrigerant storage. Store refrigerants in well-ventilated areas, away from heat sources and ignition sources.
Handling refrigerants. 1. Refrigerant recovery. Recover refrigerants from systems before servicing or repairing. 2. Leak detection. Use leak detection equipment to identify refrigerant leaks. 3. Refrigerant charging. Charge refrigerants slowly and carefully to avoid overpressurization. Emergency procedures. 1. Refrigerant leaks. Evacuate the area and ventilate if a refrigerant leak occurs. 2. Refrigerant spills. Contain and clean up refrigerant spills immediately. 3. Medical emergencies. Seek medical attention if exposed to refrigerants or experiencing symptoms. Safe storage and transportation. 1. Refrigerant containers. Use approved containers for refrigerant storage and transportation. 2. Labeling and signage. Label refrigerant containers and storage areas with hazard warnings and safety instructions. Regulatory compliance. 1. EPA regulations. Comply with EPA regulations, such as Section 608 Technician Certification. 2. OSHA regulations. Comply with OSHA regulations, such as Hazard Communication Standard. Training and certification. 1. Refrigerant handling training. Receive training on refrigerant handling and safety procedures. 2. Certification. Obtain certification in refrigerant handling and safety. Here's a summary of storing refrigerants safely. General storage guidelines. 1. Store in well-ventilated areas. Keep refrigerants away from living spaces and areas with poor ventilation. 2. Keep away from heat sources. Store refrigerants at least 3 feet away from heat sources, such as heaters, furnaces, or electrical equipment. 3. Protect from direct sunlight. Store refrigerants in shaded areas or use UV-resistant containers. Container requirements. 1. Use approved containers. Store refrigerants in containers specifically designed for refrigerant storage. 2. Label containers clearly. Label containers with the refrigerant type, quantity, and hazard warnings. 3. Ensure containers are leak-tight. Regularly inspect containers for signs of leaks or damage. Safety precautions. 1. Wear personal protective equipment (PPE). Wear gloves, safety glasses, and a face mask when handling refrigerants. 2. Use proper lifting techniques. Lift containers carefully to avoid injury or damage. 3. Keep storage areas clean and organized. Regularly clean up spills and keep storage areas free from clutter. Regulatory compliance. 1. Comply with EPA regulations. Follow EPA guidelines for refrigerant storage and handling. 2. Comply with OSHA regulations. Follow OSHA guidelines for hazardous materials storage and handling. Emergency procedures. 1. Have a spill response plan. Develop a plan for responding to refrigerant spills or leaks. 2. Keep emergency contact information handy. Keep phone numbers for emergency services and refrigerant suppliers readily available. In conclusion, handling and storing refrigerants safely is crucial for ensuring personal safety and protecting the environment. By adhering to safety procedures, utilizing proper storage techniques, and being mindful of environmental considerations, you can contribute to a safer and more sustainable workplace. Thank you for participating in this lesson. Your adherence to safety standards not only protects you and your colleagues but also contributes positively to our environment and future generations. We hope to have you again in the next lesson. Happy learning, folks!